Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the Present Toys Flight Officer, aka Ellen Ripley, based off her appearance in Aliens. Now, I got mine at a discount from KG Hobby. I've popped a link to their site in the description for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video, it's a review. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Alien content goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it looks a little Alien Romulus-esque, maybe, with the red color palette and the Facehugger up front. It's very similar to the Romulus poster. I'm not complaining though, I like the way it looks, it's just not what I was expecting for an Aliens Ripley. The Facehugger also isn't to scale, nor are its legs, like that one's curled around the front, actually wrapped around Ripley's face. Still, it's a sick looking piece of artwork. Up top, Present Toys, then down below, Flight Officer. On the side of the box, the red, it was a bold choice. But it's a nice, rich, vibrant red, I reckon it paid off. Then we've got this grungy, streaky effect over the top of it, a Present Toys logo, and this DNA strand of sorts working its way around the bottom of the box. It's not as obvious on the back, but it's there. If you look closely, you will see it. We've also got warnings and legal information with quite a few typos. Now, Present Toys does like to use slipcovers. That means there's even more artwork underneath this. Now, that's what I'm talking about. That is some real Aliens artwork. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, front and center, not the actual figure. Then some alien warriors up top doing their hive stuff, and Flight Officer down below. But if I'm remembering correctly, her rank was Warrant Officer, not Flight Officer. The only change I would make to this artwork is going with blue instead of red as the accent color, because Aliens was a very cool tone movie. On the side of the box, the artwork wraps around. We've got another Present Toys logo. Then on the back, the same warnings and legal information from the slipcover with the same typos, and an Alien Romulus xenomorph. The spiked tail and the glossy dome, dead giveaways. I don't think that's big chap. Why didn't they use Alien Warriors? Because they have Alien Warriors in the background as part of the rest of the artwork. At least there's some eggs down below. I do like that. Now, not that long ago, I made a Build-A-Figure episode on Aliens Ripley. I put together my own custom version of this on a Fison body using the Hot Toys head sculpt that I had rooted. But I still wanted to pick this up, because that Ripley is in the power loader. This one is going to be standing in the collection alongside the Alien Ripley from Hot Toys. First in-hand impressions for her. The body is quite heavy, actually. Heavier than I was expecting. And I'm already liking that head sculpt. What we're going to do now is get all of her accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything she comes with. Starting off with the display base first. Present Toys, you really need to invest in a different base mold. You've given us far too many figures using this massive base. Nobody's got room for this. It's far too big for Ripley. Up top, there's a height adjustable crotch grabber with some soft rubber stoppers so they're not going to mar up her fabric outfit. Then this is a print. It's high quality, but I would have liked some actual sculpt work on the surface of the base. The nameplate looks good. It's real etched metal. We've got xenomorphs on either side, not the correct xenomorphs for aliens, but I'll allow it. A Facehugger in the G, and a xenomorph face up close in the O. This really should have said Ellen Ripley, or even Warrant Officer, but saying Flight Officer, it just makes no sense to me. I love when 1/6 scale figures come with functional bags, because I can take this piece of foam out, then use the bag to store her extra hands inside of it. That way, if I ever want to switch up the pose, the hands are already on her. I don't have to go rifling through accessory tubs or trying to find her box in storage. The bag is made of fabric and it's heavily weathered. There's some airbrush shading all over it. The loops are made of real metal, and the clips connecting the strap to the bag also die-cast. Initially, I thought this egg was a copy of this one. It's a third-party polystone egg I reviewed recently. It isn't. The Present Toys one is taller, the base is different, and it doesn't have the cap cover piece on the inside, not to mention the different looking detail on the open parts where it flares out. The Facehugger is removable, by the way, we'll look at that in just a second. I like it, but it's hollow PVC. It feels like nothing. It's extremely lightweight. And we don't get that little cap cover piece to make it look like the Facehugger's tail is swirling around inside of it. Some more gloss on the outside would have been nice. Still, at least they gave us an egg. The Facehugger is fine, just as some set dressing on the base in the background coming out of the egg. But detail-wise, it's lacking. The sculpt is good. There's the guts on the inside, that looks particularly nasty. The vein work on the breathing sacs. The ribbing detail all the way down to the base of the tail. And the fingernails on the legs. Or are they fingers? Still not sure on that. I don't, however, love the red shading on the knuckles, the orange paint applications for the main body, and the heavy black wash that ends abruptly before it gets to the fingers, except for that one where it continues over the top just a little. If this was wired, I would be on board because then at least you could pose it, but it's sculpted plastic. The tail isn't wired, the legs are not wired. You could heat them up and then pose them, hold them in place as they cool down. That's something I'm probably going to do myself. I'll pop it in the egg, heat it up, shape it in position so it looks like that, and then leave it alone. In the movie, when Ripley's going to rescue Newt from the alien hive, she duct tapes her pulse rifle stock to the back of a flamethrower. Then she wraps the sling around the front of both of them, locking them together, essentially, so she can hold them both on one side and carry Newt on the other. In 1/6 scale, you have to figure out how to do that yourself. They've given you the sling, but no pieces of duct tape. So go and buy some duct tape, I guess. The rangefinder is attached with duct tape up on top, so they definitely had some in the factory. They simply decided it wasn't worth attaching them. There's silver dry brushing on the gunmetal parts for the pulse rifle. The readout for the ammo count is sculpted for some strange reason. There's some rivets sculpted in, just dotted around the place. And the green looks about right to me. The same thing can be said for the flamethrower. It's painted in the exact same way as the pulse rifle. Compared to the Hot Toys flamethrower and pulse rifle combo, the Present Toys ones are smaller. The Hot Toys one has a removable canister for the flamethrower and a removable magazine for the pulse rifle, plus the stock is actually functional on the pulse rifle. And they came like this, combined right out of the box. I'm not looking forward to trying to combine these weapons, but it's something that needs to be done. It's not movie accurate, I know, I give up. I used the elastic that was holding this together to bind the back of the weapons, that works. But how do you remove the flamethrower sling? It's pegged in there. I'm not about to break it, so I simply grabbed the excess and wrapped it around the barrel of the pulse rifle. The Hot Toys ones, way more movie accurate. There's a little loop on the front of the pulse rifle that the sling is threaded through. But that's not there on the Present Toys one. There's a suggestion of it with that bump as part of the sculpt work, but it's not functional. So there's no real way, as far as I can tell, to combine these two weapons in a movie-accurate, proper fashion. I could always just be doing it wrong. Let me know how you did it in the comments below. Lastly, we get a full array of hands. 2 sets with these fingerless gloves on, not seen in the movie, I don't think, but I could be misremembering. There's some skin tone paint applications for this cutout around the back, and some sculpted fingernails. These are trigger finger hands. They're nice and soft, so prying the fingers open To pop either the flamethrower or pulse rifle handles in there shouldn't be a massive challenge. Two different trigger finger hands, ungloved, this one with the fingers curled in more versus the other. Two relaxed open palm hands, and two more relaxed open palm hands already installed on her right out of the box. What we're going to do now is get Ripley herself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Let's have a think about this. To make Ripley from Aliens, how difficult is it? Well, as long as you nail the proportions, and you get the layout for the pouches and pockets on her pants right, you give her a white t-shirt, you sculpt the boots accurately, and you nail the head sculpt, not that hard. But present toys, they clearly struggled with this. I think where they went wrong is they started off with a base body that wasn't bespoke for Ripley. It wasn't right for her. It's too small, it doesn't fill out the outfit, and that's what lets this figure down the most. The outfit itself is fine. I barely have any complaints with it. And the head sculpt is more than serviceable. Even from a distance, that looks like Sigourney to me. But we live in a world where Hot Toys gave us a Ripley, and that figure is exceptionally good. So they had some stiff competition. Yes, there's no other Aliens Ripley figures out there unless you count the ancient Hot Toys one. But still, there is another Ripley, and the quality of that piece is undeniable. I've got thoughts, so let's dive in deeper. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Ripley's head sculpt. It's good. From most angles, I can see Sigourney as Ripley, like right there. But it's not a great sculpt. They got close. Not as close as Hot Toys. I was thinking they were going to do a recast. They didn't. They're similar, but the present Toys one has a different mouth shape, more teeth showing, there's a furrowed brow, and the eyebrows are more 3D and raised versus what Hot Toys gave us. If I had to pick between the Alien version of Ripley and this one from present Toys, I'm going with the Hot Toys Ripley every day of the week. But ignoring that one, detail-wise, there's plenty of sculpted and painted skin texture. The skin tone match between the silicone or rubber body versus the head sculpt is close. It's not 100% there, but close enough for me. The sculpted hair is made of a PVC plastic, so it's slightly flexible. And we've got little bits sticking off from the main bulk of the sculpt work for the hair, like that strand right there. It is lighter in tone versus the Hot Toys hair. There's a dry brush over the top of it. The flow of the individual strands, the crown up top, I am impressed with the sculpt work. It's just not as good as the Hot Toys Ripley sculpt. If this existed in a vacuum, it may very well be the best 1/6 scale Ripley sculpt. But it doesn't. We've got the Hot Toys one to compare it to, and that one is my favorite. I particularly like the rosy shading and the subtle weathering. It's not overdone, but from a distance, it helps the weathering for the outfit make sense with the head sculpt. Because they went to town with the weathering on the outfit. This t-shirt used to be white, but not anymore. It's disgusting. It's covered in brown schmutz. It looks sweaty and dirty and grimy. She's been running around the alien hive. Of course her white t-shirt is going to end up looking like this. I'm not a massive fan of the excess fabric for the t-shirt sleeves, but I'm going to switch the body out for a larger one with bigger biceps anyway. That should take care of the baggy looking sleeves for me. The top of the t-shirt, the collar area, is low cut enough so that you can see the detail for her seamless body poking out from underneath it. And the head sculpt is on a cylindrical kind of neck connector, which means it's height adjustable. So if you want her head sculpt sitting down lower on the neck, totally doable. Now, the bandolier is optional. These two straps with the canisters in them can come off too. There's some real buckles up front, but Then you'd have to unthread the belt through this real metal buckle, grab the excess, pull it through, take them off, rethread the belt, and what you'd be left with is Ripley wearing some blue pants and a dirty what used to be white t-shirt. They're staying on for my Ripley. They add some more visual interest to her outfit. I saw a pre-order listing for this Ripley a while ago, and it said that her arms were made of medical silicone. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not accusing them of lying. Maybe they just got their facts incorrect, because medical silicone is super soft and supple, and there's usually skin texture baked into the surface. This feels like a rubbery style material. It's thicker, it's sturdier, it wrinkles in a different way versus medical silicone, and it bunches like that. It's something that I am worried about long term for posing. There's also a seam line running down the outside and inside of the arms. Now the wrist peg is visible depending on the angle of the gloved hands. These gloved hands are a great way of hiding them because they sit right around the base of the wrist where that rubbery material ends. I would suggest pushing them up as far as they will go. That way the wrist pegs aren't jumping out at you. You know what? Credit where it's due. Present Toys, you updated the pants, so the pockets are going the correct way. This one is horizontal for the opening, whereas this one is vertical. This is now movie accurate. Even Hot Toys didn't do this, back in the day when they made their Aliens Ripley. The pants themselves are made of this quite heavy feeling material. There's a textured weave on the surface, and the black dry brushing they've used for weathering was the perfect choice because it highlights all of that texture as part of the fabric. Down here for her ankle, there's another mini pocket with a functional zipper. Unfortunately, they didn't update the boots. They're serviceable. The sculpt work is so gummy looking. That right there, that looks like Riplet instead of Ripley. The Y is not well defined. And they've just reversed the sculpt work for the right boot. They didn't even flip the sculpted detail in the digital software they were using to make these darn things. So easy to do. But they didn't bother. So this says Ripley in reverse, and so too does the bit on the tongue right there. Then we get to the paint applications. The weathering, super heavy-handed, and it's coming off in certain places on my copy. I'm hoping you don't have that issue on your Ripley. If you're making an unlicensed, illegal, technically IP-infringing Ripley anyway, why not just go all out and sculpt Reebok on the sneakers in the places that it's supposed to say Reebok? For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the right, Hot Toys Ripley from Alien, and on the left, Present Toys Ripley from Aliens. In real life, Sigourney Weaver is 5'11". That's darn near 6 foot. She is very tall. Hot Toys, I reckon, got the scaling right. Present Toys, they underscaled their Ripley. Which doesn't make sense to me, because the Hot Toys one came out first. They had something to base the scale of their Ripley on. But they didn't do that. And this is what we ended up with. In a dynamic pose, hunched forward, holding the pulse rifle and the flamethrower. Is it going to make a massive difference? Maybe not. Still, I wish Present Toys Ripley was taller. Now you see, that right there ain't half bad. Present Toys Ripley alongside Hot Toys Alien Warrior. She's still too small, but it's not as noticeable next to a xenomorph. The correct xenomorph to pose her with, unlike what was printed on the box and the nameplate of her display base. If, for example, you don't even have the Hot Toys Ripley, this is going to be your only representation of her in the collection, you might not mind the slightly underscaled body. Because next to this guy, she looks great. Going over articulation, starting off with her head sculpt. It's on a double ball peg underneath the rubbery material for the neck cover. Looking forward to there, that's pretty much all the way forward. Looking up to there, way more range than I was expecting in both directions. Swivel and tons of pivot side to side. Her arms being plugged in separately at the shoulders with the ball joint hinge mechanism means that it's safe to leave them in poses where they're forward or going out because there's no stress being put on any kind of rubbery material underneath the t-shirt. Going forward and back, up to there, there's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Double bend at the elbow going past 90 with an integrated swivel. It's on ratchets, I think, underneath this rubbery stuff. For her wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Her torso crunches forward to there, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. Her legs will go forward to there comfortably, but if you move the pants up and pull them out of the tops of the Reeboks, then they'll probably go even further, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90. Her boots, don't expect much out of them. Solid sculpted plastic, high tops. You can get maybe a touch of forward and back, a little ankle tilt, but it's mostly swivel. Wrapping up on present toys, Flight Officer, aka Ellen Ripley from Aliens. This is a good figure. It's not outstanding, it's not exceptional in any way, it's good. If you're after an incredible version of Ripley, you're going to have to go custom. But this is a great starting point for that. Grab the outfit, the accessories, the head sculpt even, switch the body out for a bigger, taller one, then you'd be onto something. But right now, out of the box, I'm struggling to recommend this. Is she the best 1/6 scale Aliens Ripley though? Yes, by default. Because the Hot Toys Aliens Ripley is ancient. The head sculpt doesn't look anything like Sigourney. It's cartoony, the body is weird, it's also got visible joints. So if you're stacking this one up alongside that piece, yeah, this is the one to have. But if you're comparing this to the Alien Ripley from Hot Toys, a lot newer than their Aliens version, I know it gets confusing with the whole Alien and Aliens thing, but that one wins. Hands down, that is the best Ripley in this scale on the market, in my opinion. This is probably going to end up in the power loader in the background of my display, because the power loader will do all of the heavy lifting for this. Pun is quite literally intended. So, is she worth getting? That depends on you and what you're trying to get out of it. If you're using this as a base for a custom, yeah, go for it. If you don't have the Alien Ripley by Hot Toys, then also, yes, you're probably going to really like this. If you do, and you want something to compete with that, simply put, this ain't it. But it's not the worst figure I've ever seen from a third-party company. Now, I got mine at a discount from KG Hobby. I've popped a link to their site in the description for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video. It's a review. All opinions are 100% my own. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.